Shut up and sit down.
Welcome back to Bass and Baits. I finally got to go out. I finally got to do some fishing. It didn't go quite like I hoped. I was wanting to get you guys some offshore fishing, showing you where those fish are getting on their deep haunts there in the winter. Found the bait, found the fish, just couldn't get them to bite. So me and the buddy I was fishing with, we decided we'd grab us a jerkbait, get up close to the bank, and do a little work with that. We found some quite a few balls of shad up in about 12 to 14 foot in between there and the bank. So we decided a jerkbait would be the best approach, and it paid out pretty good. I mean, we caught probably about 20 fish in an afternoon, a couple over 3. I actually didn't. I caught all small fish. I did catch a crappie and some pike, but all those clips will be at the end of the video. But what I want to go over with you guys is wintertime jerkbait fishing. A jerkbait is a great bait year-round in certain situations, but it shines when that water is 50 degrees and colder, all the way down to ice out. That's when you're going to want to really focus your efforts on a jerkbait. Now, the most important part, understand this, if you don't get anything out of this video whatsoever and you have a question about a jerkbait, this is what I want you to remember. The most important part of jerkbait fishing is working that bait on a slack line. The slack line, when you pull that line, when you jerk that bait to you, always throw slack back to that bait. And what that allows that jerkbait to do is turn and turn every time. So I'm going to jerk, point, right back at it. Even though if it's fast, I'm going to do it like that. If I'm jerking slow, it's going to be like that. I'm going to show you a video of that now. That's the correct way. That's how you want that bait working. That's underwater footage in my pool. Just did that so you guys would get a mental picture of what I'm talking about. Now, if you're constantly reeling and jerking and you're keeping your line tight, your bait's going to look more like this. And as you can see in that video, that bait, yeah, it's still darting and jumping a little bit, but it's more straight in line. It doesn't get that wide kick. And that's what you want to get the bites with a jerkbait. So again, most important part of jerkbait fishing is that. Work it on a slack line. Always pull that bait, point it right back at it. Throw slack to it, let it do its thing. Cadence is another real important thing. Now that's something I can't tell you this is going to work. That's experiment. I'm not one to let my bait sit out there forever. I'm not going to jerk it and then let it sit there 30 seconds. I know people that do, and they catch fish doing it. I'm not that guy. I'm not that patient. My thing is, if they're not going to bite it within 5 to 7 seconds, I'm throwing the wrong bait. I'll get something else. I'll catch them with something another way. So the longest I'm ever going to let mine set, 5 to 7 seconds. If it's extremely cold and I know they're on a jerkbait bite, maybe I've caught them the last couple of days and we've had a cold front, but I'm still on a tournament, I'm going to try them. I might give them 15 seconds, but I just don't like doing that. So again, jerk, pause, 5 seconds, 7 seconds, jerk, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to work it all the way back to me with just a changing up pattern. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to develop it a lot of times day to day where you're fishing at. It may be they want it jerked real fast. They may want it jerked super hard. I mean, it's just something, especially if you got a guy in the back of the boat. When we was catching these, you know, I would ask, hey, what was you doing when you caught that fish? Or he would ask me, you know, was you working that fast? Did they hit it out close to the boat? Was they closer to the bank? You know, so always try to develop that pattern as the day goes on, and you'll just get better and better as you do it. Now, when it comes to the equipment I use when I'm jerkbait fishing, I want a 6'6" to 7 foot long medium action rod with a high-speed reel and 10 to 12 pound fluorocarbon line. The reason I want that medium action rod is a lot of times they'll hit when you pause that bait, and when you go to pull again and you're going to make your jerk, that's when you'll realize you'll have a fish. And if that rod won't load, it's too stiff out on the end, when you go to load into that fish, it'll just pull those little trebles right out. So make sure you definitely have a medium action rod for that. That's what I use. I use a 6'6" 90% of the time. I'm a little shorter, a 5'9", and a lot of times when I use a 7 foot and I'm working it down, I'm constantly slapping the water, and I don't like that. So I go with a 6'6". I like the 7 foot. It helps you cast that bait farther, but I just can't use it most of the time. Now, when it comes to presenting the bait, I always want to present my jerkbait above the fish. I do not want them to go down to get it. I want it above them, so if I'm seeing all the bait in the areas at 10 foot, I'm going to want that bait to be in about 8 foot, somewhere around in that range. So I'm not going to throw that deep diving jerkbait if I think those fish are in that level that it's going to be at. If it comes through them, it's okay, but I want it to be presented above the fish. That's the biggest key. So if you're wondering, do I use a deep, do I use a shallow, use the one that will present the bait above the fish. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the clips, maybe the underwater footage. I hope you learned something somewhere through this whole video. I'm sorry it was a little bit long. I just wanted to get it all in. If you do feel like it helped you, if you would, leave a like, leave a comment down below. If you have any questions, leave it down below. I'll be glad to get to it. Subscribe to the channel if you hadn't already, and as always, we'll see you next time. you.